Welcome back to yet another first look. This one we're covering what looks like Outlands, but the name's been changed.
Yeah.
It's now called Monsterlands. This is from Second Gate Games. It is a 1 to 4 player, dice rolling, resource management, worker placement style game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in this thing. It has a nice light look to it, but boy, does it have a lot of things going on.
Yeah, don't let the artwork fool you. This is very much a Euro style game. It plays in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. In the game, each player is going to have a clan leader and also a set of mercenaries.
Yep.
They're going to be growing their clan through the course of the game. It's all about trying to manage the dice that you have within the game. Now, there's 3 types of dice. You have strength dice, which is your red dice. You have purple dice, which are your magic dice, and you have persuasion dice, which are your yellow dice.
Yeah, the persuasion dice are probably one of the most interesting aspects of the dice in this game because they have a little bit more going on with them.
So what you're trying to do is manage your reputation and your glory in order to score the most victory points by the end of the game. In order to do that, you're going to be going out to the Outlands and capturing and killing monsters that are out there.
Right. Sometimes you want to capture them instead of killing them, which is kind of a unique aspect of this game because the capture is oftentimes this small little window where you want to do enough damage, but not too much. And that way you can bring it back and get more, usually more money, as in like a bounty, and maybe a little more glory.
Each player will start with a set number of dice depending upon the leader and the mercenary that they have. They also, depending upon where their glory and reputation might be, they may get additional dice. But basically a player's turn is going to represent one of 2 different things that they can do. They can either go to the Citadel, which is basically a safe place in order to gather traps and gold and shields and potions and more mercenaries into their tableau. Or they can strategically place some of those mercenaries into the Outlands, hoping to get into a correct position in order to capture or kill those monsters, or even capture the terrain that they're invading.
Yeah, and you're using basically dice, and the dice here, they don't represent the characters themselves. The characters just provide you a different pool of dice, and depending on what characters you acquire, you're going to have different dice in front of you. You put those dice out there in a worker placement style fashion. That's where the blocking comes in.
Yeah.
So if you go into the Citadel, there's going to be some spaces that are fairly limited, so it keeps other players from going there. And then they might have to change things up and go out to the Outlands maybe before they were ready to do so.
Yeah, so there's 3 things we want to touch on. The first thing are the dice in the game. Like we said, there's 3 types of dice. You have strength, magic, and persuasion. The strength are very common in the game. You get them from a variety of different sources, and they're used primarily everywhere.
Yeah, the red dice is pretty significant in that respect. The only place being where you get your potions, which is obviously the magic dice.
Yeah, magic dice are unique in the fact that they can also be used to mitigate damage or to take away possible damage from the monsters in combat. And the last set of dice are the yellow dice, which again can be used anywhere just like all the other dice. However, the persuasion dice are really good in the Citadel because they give you the ability to latch onto other people's purchases and get purchases for yourself cheaper depending upon where you play in that round.
Yeah, these basically represent the charisma in role-playing, if you will. You use a persuasion dice, say, to buy equipment, and whatever the pips are on the yellow die, you're going to get that as a discount. In addition, you're going to get that plus any prior yellow dice as a discount. So there are some really incredible moves you can make where you get something for $1, which would normally cost $9.
The meat and potatoes of the game is the Outlands. This is where you're going to be going out into the outskirts of the castle trying to defeat the monsters that are invading the different lands. Now, the Outlands are really cool because each of these different paths has 4 different areas that you can go into them. And depending upon where you go is when you can actually start combat with those particular creatures that are in that location. However, this game has a lot of interaction between players. So you can lay traps for other players that are adjacent to you and try to foil the dice that they're using to combat those monsters.
Yeah, right. The attacking will resolve from left to right. But like Jeremy said, there's a lot of interaction there. So everyone will reveal their tokens that they've put out there along with their dice. And some of those will allow you to sort of steal dice from someone to your left, steal dice from someone to your right, do things to each other, and then it resolves. Right. So you might leave that first guy who's going to have a first crack at the monster with a lot less equipment than he thought he had.
The game is all about capturing or killing the monsters within the game. This is what's going to give you your mainstay of glory. And it's cool because each of these different monsters is going to roll a number of dice against you, but also you're trying to capture them or kill them depending upon different values that you're using. Now, as we said, magic dice, which are purple dice, can mitigate some of the damage from you, and then you're just rolling dice and using shields and potions and toxins to be able to kill them, in addition to any of the abilities of your mercenary or any of the equipment that you've stacked up underneath of them. So you're going to get a lot of mitigation in the game from the types of equipment that you're using within that combat itself.
Yeah, it's got a lot of the things that you'd expect to see in a lot of the different mechanics that are involved. Including the worker placement. A lot of the mercenaries will come with an extra die or allow you to do an ongoing effect like increase the value of a die. Basically, everything you'd expect there to be to mitigate things exists in this game.
If you can't tell by the tone of our voice, it's a very cool Euro-style worker placement game. Come back in a couple weeks, guys, because this is just an overview of the game. We're going to tell you about the turn structure, how it all works together. There's a lot more to it than what you're seeing right here on the table.
Indeed there is.
Yeah, so this is Monsterlands, formerly M-Lands from Second Gate Games. 1 4-player game. Catch us in 2 weeks, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
This Kickstarter preview has been brought to you by Man vs. Meeple in sponsorship with Quartermaster Logistics. Take a look at all of their fulfillment solutions at qmlogistics.com.